friends, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title of today's video, we are going to be talking about your Saturn return. Now, I made a video a while ago about surviving your Saturn return, and even though I still stand by the things that I said in that video, at the time I was really only able to give a very technical interpretation of Saturn return because I had never actually gone through it myself. I made that video, I think, right before Saturn entered Aquarius, so right before my own Saturn return was about to begin. So did I really know what I was talking about? Not really, because obviously your understanding of astrology becomes much deeper when you have actually experienced the transit personally. So that's why I wanted to make this video today. I have now experienced my own Saturn return. Transiting Saturn is no longer in conjunction with my natal Saturn, so I'm now kind of like closing out the chapter of my Saturn return as Saturn continues its travels through the sign of Aquarius. So I wanted to make this video for anyone who is about to begin their Saturn return in the future. Maybe you've heard of it, you know what to expect, but you also don't know what to expect, so you're looking for videos like this. Or maybe you are going through your Saturn return right now. I have connected with a lot of people over the last year who have said things like, oh my goodness, I just found out what a Saturn return is, and I just found out that I'm going through mine. And it makes sense because I feel like I'm having an existential crisis. So if that is the case for you, then hopefully this video will bring you some clarity, some comfort, and some validation for what it is that you're experiencing in your life right now, because Saturn return is no joke. So I don't want to be super technical with this video. I want to keep it real and just give you some honest insight as far as what your Saturn return is actually like and what you can really expect to happen in general, because everyone's experience is going to be different, but there are some core themes of your Saturn return that you are going to experience. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you probably are already familiar with the concept. But if you're not, the Cliff Notes version of what is a Saturn return. It is essentially when Saturn returns back to the sign and the degree that it was at the time of your birth. And it takes about 28 to 29 years for Saturn to travel the zodiac. So your Saturn return happens around the age 29, give or take a year, again around the age 59, again in your late 80s. Saturn has traveled the entire zodiac and it is back to its original placement in your natal chart. Saturn takes 2.5 to 3 years to transit one zodiac sign. And you're going to hear a lot of astrologers say that your Saturn return only lasts for the time that transiting Saturn is in conjunction with your natal Saturn. But the truth is that you are going to feel your Saturn return for about 2 to 3 years. You are going to feel your Saturn return approaching as transiting Saturn gets closer to your natal Saturn, and you're going to feel it after Saturn starts to move away, like the aftermath of your Saturn return. So it isn't going to be this distinct start and stop point. You're going to feel it approaching, it's going to get really intense, and then it's going to kind of alleviate as Saturn moves away. Now, if I had to simplify what your Saturn return is, it is basically a period of your life where you go through very uncomfortable growing pains. And it's really all about growing up and maturing. Saturn is the planet that is associated with maturity, discipline, responsibility, hard work. Saturn is known as a teacher. Saturn is like the dad of the zodiac. It's an authoritative energy. Now, Saturn teaches us wisdom, and Saturn does reward us, but it teaches us wisdom through obstacles and hardships and learning life's hard lessons. And Saturn rewards us after we have put in work, after we have worked hard for that success. Saturn isn't just giving out handouts. So your Saturn return is a time in your life where you're going to experience maturity, but it's not necessarily going to be comfortable. So a lot of people will describe their Saturn return as a time in their life where they experienced a lot of frustration, a lot of stagnancy. They feel very stuck in their life. A lot of people feel depressed. They feel confused or lost about what what direction they want to go in their life. And they experience a lot of discomfort. Anything that's not really working in your life, anything that's not serving you, isn't getting you to where you ultimately want to be, anything in your life that's just not really productive and is holding you back, those things are going to start to crumble and kind of fall apart and fall away from your life. So your Saturn return can be a time where you experience loss. Something I experienced in my Saturn return, and I've kind of seen this across the board with other people, is there is this very heavy feeling of loneliness during your Saturn return. Even if you're not alone, you feel alone. And there's a heavy energy that's just kind of weighing you down. You can feel very pessimistic. It's just a very challenging time in your life, but it's not a bad thing. Saturn really gets a bad reputation, but Saturn is trying to teach you to grow up and mature into the best version of yourself. It's kind of like you're being put through all of these tests, but it's not to punish you. That's not at all what's happening. It's to help you grow, and it's to help you take control and responsibility of your own life, so that way you can actually get to where you want to be. You have to remember that Saturn is all about stability and longevity and producing results and creating a stable foundation for yourself. So that is what Saturn is trying to help you do and teach you to do, but it comes with a lot of discomfort, because the reality of the situation is that for the most part, we don't change and we don't grow until we're kind of forced to, right? Until something happens, we'll stay in our comfort zone forever, even if it's not serving us. And we won't really make any changes or do any real work on ourselves until something falls apart and we have no choice but to step up to the plate and actually make those changes. So that's kind of what Saturn is here to do. It's here to kind of push you and test you, but it's trying to push you in the right direction. Everyone's Saturn return is going to play out different, because it's going to depend on your own life and your own life circumstances and what you have done in your life up until this point. It's also going to depend on what house you have Saturn in. What house is Saturn transiting when it returns? That area of your life is really going to be under a microscope and kind of highlighted during your Saturn return. So I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen. If Saturn is returning to your 10th house, then your career and your goals are going to become the focus. If Saturn is returning to your 7th house, your relationship or maybe legal matters are going to be the focus. Your second house, your finances are going to be under a microscope. You're going to experience obstacles in that area of your life. So that's going to give you a lot more insight as far as like, where are you really going to experience this maturity and this growth and maybe some of these lessons that have to be learned. But there are these certain core themes that I see across the board in myself and other people I know going through their Saturn return, where even though what's happening in our life might look different, there is still that core theme, that core lesson, that core hurdle that we are overcoming. And the root of it is really the same. It just plays out in different ways. And what I've noticed is that, yes, the house Saturn is transiting is definitely going to be under a microscope, but there are going to be challenges that happen in all aspects of your life during your Saturn return. You are going to experience uncomfortable growing pains across the board. So I have narrowed it down to 6 things that you are going to experience during your Saturn return. I've kind of saved the best ones, or like the most challenging ones, for last. So let's get into what those 6 things are. Number 1, you are going to feel like no matter what, you just can't catch a break. I have said this, and everyone I know has said the same thing. I just can't catch a break. And it's true. Your Saturn return is going to be one thing after another after another. It is going to be frustrating things. It's maybe going to be some devastating things. It's going to be inconvenient things. You're going to have one issue over here in this area of your life, and as soon as it's resolved, or maybe even before then, something else is going to pop up, and then something else, and it's just overwhelming. And you're going to find yourself saying like, when is this going to stop? So that's the first thing. That's like a guaranteed thing to happen. It is one thing after another, and it gets to the point where you're just like, things can't even go any more wrong, or like there can't be more shit that's coming my way. Oh, but there is. Just accept it. Just accept it. Just surrender. It's not even worth it. All right, the next thing, you are going to find yourself doing a lot, and this one's not that bad. This one's not that bad. You're gonna find yourself doing a lot of inner reflection as far as what do you really want out of life? And what do you really want your future to look like? And you're going to be contemplating your life a lot, your career, your relationships, marriage, kids, buying a home, all of the adult things that we do in this society. You are going to really do a lot of reflection on what do you want your life to look like? And then what's going to happen is if you're very far away from where you want to be, it's going to be made really apparent to you. It's kind of like a reality check. You feel like your world stops and you are just looking at what's right in front of you. You're looking at your life, you're looking at your relationships, you're looking at your career, you're looking at yourself, and you're saying, is this really what I want? Do I know what I really want? What are my beliefs? What are my values? What are my goals? And again, it's gonna play out differently for everybody, but you're definitely gonna find yourself doing a lot of reflection and doing a lot of contemplating about what you want and what you don't want. Because something that happens with your Saturn return is anything that's not working or really not fulfilling you, it becomes really obvious. It becomes really apparent. So it's going to kind of cause you to do this inner reflection of, what do I really want my life to look like? And this could also manifest as you just realizing that like your priorities are out of whack, or you've been prioritizing things that aren't really fulfilling you, that aren't really making you happy. So that's number 2. Number 3, Saturn is going to teach you how to deal with the stress of life, but like adult stress. Okay, Saturn's gonna teach you how to navigate hard times. But how is Saturn gonna do that? By putting you in hard, stressful situations. It literally is like, all of a sudden, you have adult problems. You don't have early 20s, I could do whatever I want problems. Oh, I got hammered and did this. No, you have real life adult problems with bills, with your career, with family, you name it. Okay, Saturn is gonna put you through the ringer. You're gonna go through hardships. You're gonna deal with real life stress. And Saturn's gonna repeatedly put you in those situations until you learn how to properly handle it like a mature, healthy adult. Saturn's going to teach you how to deal with stress by putting you through a bunch of stress. All right, now number 4. This is where things start to get really uncomfortable, okay? Because everything else we've kind of talked about has a lot more to do with like, you know, surface level stuff, external world type of stuff, right? Now we're going deep. Now we're going into ourselves, because in order for our external world to change, what has to change first? We have to change. And everything that your Saturn return is about you. It's about growing up. It's about maturity, responsibility. So number 4 is Saturn is going to teach you, or try to teach you, hopefully you learn the lesson, how to let go of fear and how to welcome in change. And what comes along with that is letting go of what's not working in your life anymore. And here's what's going to happen. You are going to have this reality check during your Saturn return, and you're going to see that there are things in your life that need to change. Maybe it's behaviors, you know, maybe it's something within your routine, maybe it's a career path, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's where you're living, you know, all sorts of things, your financial situation. You're going to see that there are things that need to change, right? Because again, Saturn is really showing you very clearly, this is where you are and this is where you want to be. Now, you've got to get there. You've got to do the work in the middle to get there. So there's going to be all these things that you notice need to change. But that's where it's going to get really uncomfortable, because we fear the unknown. We will stay in our comfort zone even if it's not good for us, even if it's not working, and it's obviously not working. We have a hard time with change. We have a hard time letting go. And this is where the real work really begins, because here's what's going to happen. It's not just that you're going to identify that something needs to change. You're gonna feel this pressure and almost like this forceful energy that's like pushing you, like you have to change this now. You can't procrastinate anymore. You can't make excuses. You can't justify. You have to change now. That's how you feel. In order to live the life you want to live and that you're meant to live, you're going to have to overcome fear. You're going to have to make decisions even when you're scared. You're going to have to get comfortable with fear. You're going to have to be willing to change and to let go of what's no longer working. And that's one of the most uncomfortable parts of your Saturn return. Now, number 5 is really goes hand in hand with number 4, and I kind of spoke about this just a minute ago, but this deserves its own number because this is such a huge part of your Saturn return. This is where the reality check comes from, okay? Number 5 is that every single little detail and behavior and way that you hold yourself back is going to become so apparent to you. You will not be able to run from it. Because what happens with your Saturn return is if you try and avoid it, if you try and keep procrastinating and pushing things off, it doesn't go away. The pressure gets worse. It gets more challenging. You feel heavier. You feel more stagnant. If you don't start making changes in the areas that you know you need to make changes in, your life's gonna start to get real dicey. Things are not gonna work out. Things are gonna be falling apart left and right. And more than anything, you're gonna feel like crap. Straight up. You're not gonna feel good about yourself. You're gonna feel stagnant, stuck, depressed. It's gonna perpetuate the problem. And see, now here's where things differ for everyone. And it's like a spectrum, right? Because some people are gonna see, okay, you know, this is obviously not working in my life. This is a bad behavior. I need to change this. But the problem for some people is that they don't actually recognize that they need to change. So like all these things will be going wrong in their life, but they're not making the connection. It's almost like they lack the self-awareness to realize that like, oh, I'm responsible for this. Like I actually have to be the one to change this. Some people are not going to really realize that right off the bat. And it's just gonna keep piling on and piling on. You have to be able to reflect on your own situation, your own circumstances, your own behaviors, your own mindset, and really be able to identify what needs to change, and then also accept the fact that you have to be the one to change it. And that leads me to the last one on my list, number 6. This is gonna be really challenging for some people, and this is not gonna be so challenging for others. And depending on how you've lived your life up until this point, this is gonna differ for everybody. But the last thing that Saturn is really gonna teach you to stop playing the victim. I'm just saying it. Saturn's gonna teach you how to stop living in victim consciousness. Because what happens during your Saturn return, it's challenging to not have those moments where you say, why is this happening to me? You're gonna feel that way. Like, the world is against me, life is against me, why is this happening to me? When am I going to catch a break? Me. It's really easy to play the victim, and Saturn is trying to teach you to take responsibility for your own life, to take control of your own life and stop playing the victim. This is a huge theme for everyone that I have seen go through their Saturn return. You have to stop blaming other people. You have to stop blaming the world. You have to stop blaming your childhood, your parents, where you come from. You have to stop blaming all of that. You have to take responsibility for your life. The key to not just surviving your Saturn return, but to actually learning to enjoy the process of it is by really being conscious of, am I playing the victim right now? Don't choose the victim role. Understand that this is an opportunity for probably the most profound growth that you've ever experienced up until this point. But you're not ever gonna be able to do that if you play the victim. So your Saturn return is really gonna teach you to look at mistakes or things going wrong or challenges or hardships as an opportunity for growth and maturity. Saturn is really teaching us how to take control of our own lives. Saturn is teaching us self-awareness, and he's teaching us to not just talk about it, be about it. If you have these goals and these visions of the future, Saturn's gonna say, okay, you can have that. You just gotta make it happen. You have to make the changes necessary necessary to have this unfold in your life the way you want, because the way you're living right now is not in alignment with what it is that you want. You have to put in the time, the energy, and the effort to make the necessary changes in your life so that you can become the best version of yourself, so that you can reach your goals. And it's not even about finding success. It's about finding stability in our lives. It's about being able to stand on our own 2 feet. That is what Saturn is trying to teach us. But he does that through these challenges, these obstacles, these hardships. It's like this point in your life where you can look back and say, like, that was a profound moment of growth for me where my life changed. And I'm the one that made it happen. And also, you gain so much wisdom through your Saturn return. You know, we learn and we grow and we become stronger and wiser through struggles a lot of the times, through pain, through loss, through obstacles, through stress, under pressure. So that is what your Saturn return is here to do. You have to remember that Saturn does reward you. Saturn is not only about hardships. Saturn does reward you. Saturn does bless you. You just have to work for it. So that about wraps it up for this video, you guys. I wanted to give you like my Saturn return testimony because I just went through it. You know, I'm still finishing it out, but like I said, Saturn is no longer in conjunction with my natal Saturn. And this is what I have experienced. And this is what everyone else that I have spoken to, everyone has reported the same things. Even though it plays out differently in all of our lives, these themes are always at the core of it. The lessons are the same. And again, it depends on where you're at in your own life. It's gonna be a lot harsher for some people than others. I just wanted to give you guys some honest insight about the reality of what your Saturn return is really like. And the reality of your Saturn return is that it is one big ass reality check. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up for me if you did. Let me know down below, have you gone through your Saturn return? What was it like? Are you going through it now? What is going on? Tell me. I would love to hear people's experiences. A big part of astrology is like doing research. So I would love to hear from you guys what your Saturn return experience is. And if you're going through your Saturn return, hang in there. Your life is not over. This is all working out divinely. This is divinely guided, okay? Everything's gonna be fine. Anyways, I love you guys. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.